Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
All right, there we are. Here's Jack. You know, you have a really exciting show today for one reason only.
No.
Today.
No,
yes.
Many reasons.
Well, of course, but there's a huge one.
Well, there's there's a couple of huge ones.
Our audience is larger than Jimmy Fallon's was last night. You've made it.
Wow, big time. And Mert was dancing to the theme. So that's new. Jude's here. The Java House gang is here.
This is big.
It is big. I thought we were going to get canceled.
I'm overdressed.
Jack.
I mean, underdressed.
Speaking of jingle.
Oh, here we go.
If we haven't already.
I wasn't.
If we haven't already.
We haven't.
And it doesn't hurt to do it again. We need to give a big shout out to Mr. Terry Sweet. Who wrote that catchy little ditty jingle.
Yes.
Thanks, Terry.
He did. He did the music. I wrote the lyrics.
And Scott, there we go. And Scott wrote the thank you note to the jingle that Terry wrote.
Gary and Terry?
yeah, absolutely. Together again at last. So there we are. It's a Jack Hankey Show coming to you live from the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library. And we all showed up.
The library's still open.
And the library is absolutely open. And we have lots of very important things like books, as well as toilet paper and disinfectant hand sanitizer. So feel free to use as much as you like.
Do you clean each book every day?
Yeah, we lick them.
No.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Great. That's just wonderful. But we do have a big audience. I thought we might get canceled because you have to have a 250 person limit, and usually we're well over that. So I thought, holy mackerel, we're in trouble. But the literate luminaries of Cedarburg are here.
Fantastic.
In the library. Yes.
All right.
We have Ms. Shirley Kerznar is here along with her friends. I don't know why I think she's here to talk to the mayor.
Here's your chance.
Oh no,
we got him.
Mark Nielsen, the illustrious Howard Messerman, is
extremely illustrious. Absolutely.
The intern Mert and Jude, the good half of her couple.
Excellent.
The Smiths are here. Oh, you remember? You said you were uncomfortable a couple weeks ago, and I was telling a story about a second grade teacher I had a big crush on.
I remember.
She is here. Karen.
Now I'm doubly uncomfortable.
So is she.
Yeah. And so is her husband. I remember I said she married a nice guy. That's him. Son of a gun. And then
I told Jack it's not okay to park outside your house every week like he's been doing. I said, just stop that.
And John and Linda are here as well. And John gave me a look like, where the hell are you going when I was running back outside about 2 minutes ago? He thought I was going to chicken out talking to Keith.
We're used to that.
Yeah. Today our guests are the illustrious mayor.
I mean, this is the mayor.
Notorious.
Notorious. Notorious B.I.G. mayor.
That's his rap name, yes.
B-U-R-G
In
mayor.
his hip-hop days, he was known as the Notorious Mayor.
Notorious B-U-R-G mayor. Michael O'Keefe.
Hello.
Hello. And then, so we have the mayor of the city, and then we have the town crier.
Whiner.
Keith,
Whiner.
Keith, no. Keith Kerznar is here, and he's known as the town crier because whenever people talk to him, they start crying usually. So,
we'll take any emotional reaction to the show. It's all good.
I also brought a useless prop today.
Oh, fantastic.
It's
Good for radio.
Yes. He brought a
I'm
brought a
allowed to say
visual
what it
for
is.
radio. We love it when he does that.
This is the local newspaper. We don't need it. Keith is here. Anybody who wants to know the real news, line up and ask some questions.
Take a number.
Yeah, exactly. And our musical guest is
Well,
incognito.
MIA.
So we're putting Ian back on the spot.
who here can whistle? I don't, okay, no, we're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, we can make it.
We're very good.
Excellent.
So do we have to talk about what's going on in Cedarburg?
What is going on in Cedarburg and all parts beyond?
It's good to know that the coronavirus has not interrupted the constant sniping about the parking.
I'm just glad we made it 4 minutes into the show without mentioning the C word. We just did now. But I mean, I was wondering how far that.
Careful there, big guy.
Yes, coronavirus.
Yeah.
So yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's
Everyone
a little
thought that
strange.
meant a hangover until last week.
Well, I usually like my Corona with a lime, but that's not the case right now. It's a little weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard some people say it was more like 9/11 than the stock market crash.
Yeah,
it was more because
absolutely.
the outside forces are.
Well, it's just terrifying as a father of 5 kids watching them all,
Stay home.
That's always that alone is terrifying. But watching Zach take a bite out of a Twinkie and say, "Oh, here, Mallory, you can have the rest." I'm like, "No, we're not doing that now. We're
Wow.
not sharing."
You used to do that? You let them do that before?
Oh, yeah, our immunity is so high in my house, it's unbelievable. Bring it, whatever you got, I'll take.
You're in a sea free zone then.
Absolutely.
And
No
you're,
germs can grow on a Twinkie.
That's true. It's probably
that's why Keith is here. That's why Keith is here. Points out the wonderful,
The obvious.
obvious things that should be obvious to everyone.
instead of all that hand sanitizer, just rub a Twinkie.
Sounds
right
kinda
from the
dirty.
right from the CDC. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get in trouble for rubbing your Twinkie.
The mayor's so happy to be here today. I'm sure.
Oh, man. And there goes the mayor.
He's just
I have a child at UW Oshkosh and another at Madison, and I told them they can move home, but they need to bring 3 rolls of toilet paper with them. So.
man.
That's the ticket. That's your ticket to anywhere right now.
We need a toilet paper underwriter.
That's true.
Little black market.
Not an underwiper, an underwriter. Now we have our first underwriter of the show.
I've been hearing rumblings about
Well,
that. Is the ink dry? Or is it still wet?
Mr. Bob doesn't lie. Mr.
right.
Bob's Under the Bridge is the first underwriter.
It's extremely exciting.
of the show. It is.
That's a great underwriter to have.
It
I
is.
mean, they do amazing stuff over there, so I'm thrilled to have them.
Yes, and also you're thrilled to have something that you haven't even mentioned yet, which is
Coffee.
steaming hot Italian roast coffee from the Java House. The
my-
lovely Java House. I was just there, and Lisa said to be sure and tell everyone it's very clean in here. She cleans the doorknobs every hour on the hour, so get there at 11:01 and you'll be good.
And my coffee's temperature is 98.6, so it's not 104. It's all good.
And the Java House tie runs deep in here today.
That's big time. We basically are opening up a second. This is like franchising. We have the second branch of the Java House here right now. So it's
And
good.
without Lisa.
Without Lisa.
So the rest of us can talk.
Well,
So
that's
it's
right.
quiet.
Please, no character assassination to the person who's supplying us our coffee.
Do I have a coffee in here?
Yeah, I didn't either.
You're the guest. You got to earn yours. We got to see. If you're good, you'll get a certificate afterwards.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone sheepishly.
Can I tell my Jack Henke Coffeehouse story?
Everyone has one. Why don't you go ahead?
Everyone was fully clothed and everything. I was in one of our local coffee establishments.
The Java
Oh,
House.
probably. Was it? See, Jack remembers.
Yes.
Probably a year ago or more. And I saw Jack. I was talking to somebody, but I just glanced up and saw him approaching kind of the table to walk past, and I misidentified him. And full-throated said, "Hey, Charlie!" And Jack's reaction was beautiful. He just scowled and kept walking.
No.
Didn't say a word.
I said, "How you doing, Herman?"
Right. So anyway, I appreciate you allowing me on with you and Steve on Grafton Public Radio to kind of clear that up today.
No, Grafton.
What's been
Speaking of Grafton, what the hell's going on over in Grafton? You're a cop.
I had
right?
a Biden moment there.
Oh boy, you're a law-abiding. Now, Grafton was in the news because they had a opening for a police chief, and you're on the fuzz, aren't you?
I was.
You was.
Retired.
You was on the fuzz. You
Yep.
retired.
Glendale PD. Yeah.
They have an opening for the police chief, and they had 40 applicants
Really.
for Grafton's police chief. Why?
So there's an opportunity for me to be the 41st on the bottom of the list.
Right. Well, I think they're still accepting them. But what is that unusual to have that many applicants for? Do you know anything? I mean, I know you're connected with the big city, but for us,
Yeah,
Herders.
the police chief position kind of rotates so infrequently that as far as numbers, I'm not sure.
boy, he just shifted
but
into
it does
political
seem,
talk. there.
yeah,
Wow, that was pretty good. He was started off smart enough, but he shifted gears.
Oh
pretty
yeah,
quickly.
we're not even in any Cedarburg issues yet.
It's all
Just
Milwaukee
wait.
policemen trying to get out of town.
So it does seem kind of unusually high, but, it's a good opportunity.
Well, I mean, I have to confess.
Did you apply?
I applied.
You can't even stop your kids from chewing on the same Twinkie.
You don't think this radio gig is going to work out?
We'll see what happens at 1 o'clock.
He can read the tea leaves from the Java House.
We all might be applying at different places.
Now they're up to 70.
Right. So today we have the mayor and the crier, and we have the Ian turn. So we got a great show, and no music, but we'll live. And
We do have one thing. We have one very critical thing.
What's that?
The first batch of commercials.
That's not critical.
Oh, I got to do it anyway.
Now we're just getting rolling.
I'm just you
Well,
look,
other
you gave me
things.
that look. I know that look.
No,
You look like commercials.
what you don't know. I want to talk about Circle B.
Oh, fire away. Well,
It's the gift that keeps on
The
giving.
gift that keeps on giving.
Yes,
Absolutely.
forget the snowplow thing. You know that they're going to have a concealed carry class at Circle B.
I heard.
I think you can go in for happy hour and then go on down to the thing. And you know what date they're conceal and carry?
Well, the worst possible date, of course, would be April 1st. What date is it then? April 1st. Joke's on me, everybody.
Only a fool will.
Coincidentally, that's my father's birthday.
Your father.
I hope, is he a crack shot? Because they need him over the Circle B.
A crackpot. I think they'll have plenty of those.
That he was.
I wonder what caused that. All right, commercial on.
Thank you. These are commercials brought to you by us. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Jack Henke Show, for those of you in the audience, and we'll see you soon.
And the Ad Council.
Let's do lunch.org, of course, and everyone's doing lunch here.
You're doing a dating site?
No, that was, what's his name? The indie racer for Meals on Wheels.
Okay. All right.
So, it's big.
You're really moving up in the world.
Well, it took a while to get that one. Lunchtime here at the Jack Henke Show. That's what we're doing here in the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library. Still open. We got a very, very important news bulletin handed to us during the break about our friends at Meyer in Grafton.
Jude Eggle came through as she always does. She is. Did you know that
she should be our man in the field with a toilet paper report every week?
She's not the man in the field. She's the queen of the field.
All right.
And she is the king of the Ozaki County Fair, by the way.
Wow,
She's
nice.
had more blue ribbons, red ribbons, green ribbons than anyone in history. I think she's up on their wall of fame there.
Nice.
But in off season,
Yes.
she does toilet paper scouting for us.
She does.
And Jude, where are they out? Myers.
All right, you heading down to Meyer. You can probably get your, you can get your prunes.
That's our on-the-pot reporter.
You can get your oatmeal. Get some good roughage. But unfortunately, on the
better hope it's clean.
On the flip side of all that,
Yeah, right. The flip side, they're not a sponsor.
not yet.
Before we go along, I have another news bulletin.
Yes.
My daughter just sent me a text. You should give me a shout out for listening. Your favorite child is listening and on her way home right now.
Margot, thank you for tuning in.
Yes. So let's embarrass her.
Well, she's coming into town. She's rolling in.
Yeah, don't worry, people of the job house. She's not going to be working this weekend, so you'll be getting your drinks correct. Don't worry about that.
And on time?
And on time. Okay.
Let me enjoy my last free coffee for the show.
So we are turning our attention and the spotlight to the mayor, back to the mayor, and he promised not to slide back into his political speak. He's going to talk like the real person that he is. He was able to turn his home brewing operation into a political career, and
Yes.
it worked very well.
If you brew enough beer and give it away for free, you end up being elected mayor.
I must interject. I at this time. That
Did you say interject?
I think I interjected an interjection. Yes. We were out at the park doing Conquer the Berg, and Mr. Mayor was out there with his homebrew specialty. And I'm a guy who hates stout beers. I don't like them. His stout was the best.
It was kick-ass.
This was unbelievable.
Yeah, it
this
was really good.
I mean, it was the best I've
Well, thank you.
I've ever had. Yeah.
And ATF, if you're listening out there, I'm distributing unlicensed beer. Thanks, Jeff.
He's always there to stick up for you. I noticed him on Facebook.
No good review goes unpunished.
Yeah.
Nothing like indictment to really fire things up. So.
I'm over 21.
Mayor federally indicted. That'd go good.
Disclaimer: I was not selling beer; it was being given away. Right?
It absolutely was.
So-
Oh boy, was it ever! Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oof.
Thank you.
And you were carding. Make sure everybody's.
Oh yes, absolutely. So
Excellent. So you're here, and you now wait a minute. You were elected.
I am. What do you want to talk about?
When were you elected?
I was elected almost 2 years ago,
Okay. How long's the term?
and it's a 3-year term.
Okay.
So I figure I'll
heading-
go on, this today, and maybe within a year it'll have faded away. But
Are you going to announce your recandidacy on
oh
this?
boy,
Oh.
Wow, what a
I thought you didn't want me to kick into political mode here.
Just that's a yes or no answer. I
We're
didn't-
going to evaluate at the
okay.
time.
All
And,
right. So yes, he is good. Good to know. So 2 years. Did you ever envision yourself being a mayor when you were?
Well, what happened was I was a police officer in Glendale, and I've lived in Cedarburg for 25 years. My wife and I are we're the couple who have visited and never left. We just, our new fall in love kind of marketing campaign was us. We got here and said, wow, this is where we want to be. So when I did eventually get to day shift, probably, 12, 13, 14 years ago, I started getting involved in committees and commissions. I was on the Parks and Rec Board. Eventually, you're a cop, so they put you on the Police and Fire Commission. And got involved and got this.
involved. Hold on.
Yeah.
Public Works, Sewerage Commission, which is good for politics, Police and Fire Commission, Economic Development Board,
Right.
Parks, Rec, and Forestry, Personnel.
I'm addicted to meetings. Yeah.
You're a strange mayor.
Yes. Yeah.
And the community pool.
Sure. Yep.
So just a few things. You kind of got involved.
Right, I got a little involved. Not all, some of that happened after I ran for Common Council for alderman, and I got this weird late night call one night saying, "Your current alderman is not running for re-election. You should run." And I'm like, "Who? What kind of is this? Deep Throat? Who is this?" And I did run, and
Wait a minute. Well, who was it?
It was Paul Radke.
Okay.
Who I was on Parks and Rec Board with, and he was an alderman at the time, and he was recruiting, I guess,
Yep.
badly.
Well,
and
it worked, though.
It did. So I ran and served on the Common Council for 6 years, 2 of those as council president, and I spent a year trying to convince Kip Kinsel to run for mayor for one more term, and he said, "Nope, my daughters are out of college, and I'm finished."
So while his daughters were around, he wanted to be busy and stay
We
away
should
from
bring
home,
his
but-
daughters back,
Yes.
probably, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did a nice job, isn't he?
He did. Great guy.
Yeah.
So, there's all kinds of things going on.
All right, like?
Well, we're getting some calls about CDC, and essentially we're telling people to kind of, follow the CD. I should say we're getting calls about Corona, and we're recommending following the CDC guidelines. And am I getting nervous here? And
Oh, you're doing well.
Art in the Berg tomorrow has been canceled, unfortunately. And but this is interesting. I have a 91-year-old mother who lives in assisted living. In fact, just moved in like a month ago to assisted living, and she went with my sister and her husband down to Florida. And she's now been advised when she comes back, she will be quarantined for 2 weeks, which means she can live in her assisted living apartment, but she can't go out into the hallways or the common areas of the nursing home. She's across state. But yeah, mom's getting quarantined at 91. Wow. So she's just going to stay with my sister. And it's weird. They said she can go out and everything and do everything, but she can't be in the nursing home, which I guess makes sense. But is there a bigger chance of catching it in Florida? I don't know. Is it the flight? But, they're being extra cautious. So mom's quarantined.
Wow.
So I'm not getting anywhere near.
Yeah.
She's finally grounded instead of you.
Right. That's cool. Go to your room and don't
stay
come
there.
out.
Don't come out. That's what we tell
Oh,
you.
boy, that is. There's a switch.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish you lived here. I could have done it.
When I was mayor.
Right. There you go. There's your mayor talking.
Right. That's right. Little payback.
Right. So what else besides?
Well, what else we
on
got?
the local scene? What's going on?
We're working on a Highway 60 business park. We just approved some preliminary engineering. The manufacturing segment of our tax levy, not to get too technical, I guess, has been going down and down for years, and I think that's an important, aspect of the whole kind of picture. So we're working on maybe an anchor tenant, and get some jobs and some ancillary. Is that okay?
That'll work. I like that.
Businesses. And, we're cleaning up Amcast over there in Hamilton Road. And we have a TIF, and I can use, if I can curse on the air, I guess we have a TIF district over there to get that done. You know what's real interesting about that? Here's a little inside baseball for you. I had a meeting with the EPA the other day, last week, and they said that as long as we're doing that, they are looking at cleanup of some of the areas around it, including that quarry pond over at Zoynert Park, the one between Hamilton and Lincoln Boulevard.
The park that no one knows how to pronounce.
That's right. I hope I'm saying it right.
You say Zonier.
But, they're talking about cleaning that. It's got PCBs in it. Yeah. And I didn't even know it was possible to actually clean it up. But they feel that they can clean some of that sediment underneath and get it really usable where we could
Swim?
Fish in there, swim, kayak.
Shut up,
and
swimming
it's
in
such
there?
a cool park.
No
well,
way.
I
Got
mean,
goose crap everywhere. What the heck? What? I want to go near there.
What about the goose problem? Yeah.
What are you going to do about that?
the
That's
least
the next
of our
question.
problems right now.
I shrug off PCBs, but goose.
Chemicals are great, but no geese. So that would be, really interesting if we could use as such a beautiful park, and that quarry pond I think is really cool, but we can't use it for much. So if we could do that and have the EPA pay for it, hey, great. But, these things, you kind of do it, and, once kind of the other governmental entities see you're sort of investing in remediation and cleanup, it kind of, the dominoes start to fall and you get other things done. So, that's worthy, I think.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thanks.
All right, I got a hard-hitting question from from an audience member here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Who's related to the producer of the show. He wants to know, what the hell's going on with Washington Avenue? When are you going to fix all the potholes? Right? Is that right, Howard?
I wonder who asked that question. That sounds like my dad. That's just how he talks.
We are actually working on Washington Avenue this year. It's on and it was made a priority this year to get that one done. I believe it is the area south of Western Avenue that's real bad right now, in between there and kind of Lincoln, out and out over there. So we're going to work on that. And, it's funny when I both when I was running for alderman and running for mayor, I went out door to door and knocked on a lot of doors and talked to a lot. It's a great opportunity and almost an excuse to go talk to people. And when I was doing that, we think the big issues are Amcast cleanup or the business park or Arabelle or apartments or whatever. And you get out there and, they say all politics are local. People say that pothole in front of my house and garbage pickup.
What are you going to do about that toilet paper problem, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, right. Just the most localist of local issues. So it's kind of an eye-opener. That's what people care about, which is cool. I mean, I agree.
That's what affects them.
Right. Which is why I even when I was a council member, I asked to be put on the Public Works and Sewerage Commission, which doesn't sound too glamorous.
Yeah, the really sexy one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Sewerage.
those are the folks that keep the trains running on time, I mean, everything seems important until your toilet won't flush, or worse yet, is backing up into your basement. And that's, so that's
That
what
stinks.
yeah. Ba-doom, boom.
All right, I got a hardball for you.
Oh, boy. That's why I'm here, Jack. Hard-hitting news right here.
We want to know what the deal is with the liquor license thing.
I agree.
Because here's why. We read 1 week, and the newspapers never lie. I know a person who wrote for him for years, and he was the most honest person I ever knew.
Right.
And they said the first meeting they couldn't decide between the two people who were applying for it. They're both worthy, and then the next meeting comes, and neither one of them is going to get it because there's a whisper of a rumor that something might be built and a restaurant might go in it someday. Is that
Right.
Is that
We have actually two available. One is kind of a free one, although I think there's somewhat of a charge, like $500 or something. You're nodding, Jack.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
I remember there's two levels. One is like thousands, and
one is $10,000.
Yeah.
And I actually had coffee, not at the Java House, one of the other non-mentionable
there are
coffee
other
shops.
good coffee shops.
With
yeah.
Dewey
Not the evil
Strobel,
empire.
State Senator Dewey Strobel.
You had
the
coffee
other day.
with Dewey Strobel?
I did, because kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And but he, I said, Dewey, what's the deal? Why can't we? Why are we? Number one, why does the state limit our liquor licenses? And particularly, I think, as a tourist community, we have more restaurants and maybe more taverns than what our population might indicate. And they base it on population, how many liquor licenses you can get. And I don't know, is increased points of purchase, does that really affect, how much people drink or what happens? I mean, there's an argument to be made there. But number one, I don't know why they're limited. And number two, we always talk about, utilizing these liquor licenses. But Rick Verhollen, who's on the Common Council, kind of made the argument that, well, what is, less utilization than not issuing one at all, right?
Yeah.
And I had kind of spoken out about retaining this to sort of dangle it for a really good restaurant. All of our surveys come in and they indicate that if we're lacking in any area, it's dining choices here in Cedarburg. So I had kind of spoken out about retaining this and holding it out there. Now I had to miss I don't miss too many council meetings, but I had to miss the last meeting where it was decided not to give it to anyone. But I think, I hate to kind of like flip-flop here in front of you, but I think Rick might have a point that, maybe to issue it and utilize it in any manner is better than not to issue it at all. So, it's something we could certainly take a look at. Now, that one that costs $10,000, they do not allow the city, state law, the way it's written, they do not allow the city to sort of refund that in any way. It's very specific that we can't say, well, it costs $10,000, but we'll knock $8,000 off your property tax next year, $1,000 a year for the next 10 years. They don't let us sort of reduce the impact that way. So it's something we got to look into. But why they're limited at all, I don't know. Maybe it's
I think you could run for president on that.
really.
Yeah.
More liquor licenses.
Unlimited liquor licenses. I love that.
I don't know.
I love that guy. What's his name?
We toyed with that a little bit here on this show, actually.
Yeah, we actually have a recurring guest, Bud Lincoln.
A guy named Bud Lincoln, who's he decided to start making his own liquor license. They're temporary. They only
Right.
last for 24 hours.
Sure.
So, and he sells them. Initially, he was trying to sell daiquiris on his front lawn, and that didn't quite work out so good because a couple guys showed up to tell him to stop doing that. So he's like,
Right.
okay, fine, I'm going to sell it. And they said, you don't have a liquor license? Fine, I'll make one. So,
His parking passes, wasn't
yeah, and
it?
he's doing parking passes too. Winter parking passes for yeah. So, Bud, we don't see him. He's kind of in the shadows.
They were handwritten
Sure.
on note cards.
That's right. Absolutely.
Hopefully he takes up their time so my stout isn't investigated.
Well, that's a pretty good recovery by the mayor there. Yeah, very good. Okay.
Good stuff.
Do you have any other soliloquies you want to share with us?
Well, I don't know if you want to get into this, but at 2:30 p.m. today is the Jacob Banis sentencing. You know, I know this is a kind of leans toward being a lighthearted show, but that's sort of maybe a chapter in our history that we can hopefully find a little bit of closure on.
Yeah.
So kind of rooting for a big sentence there,
Terrible
if I can
stuff.
say that.
You
but
can say it.
Yeah.
Between that and the liquor licenses,
I'm pretty
you're
sure I
reelected.
just did.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah, this is what it happened here, and we got to deal with it. So.
Right, and it's nice to see, again, the Shinery kind of getting in there and giving that place a little bit of a facelift.
You're giving it a shine.
Give it a liquor license.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute. Yeah, build them up and you can't. Okay,
Awesome.
great.
Fantastic.
All right, I think it's time to go from the.
Yeah, another. You know, I've been hearing a few rumblings around the library here, and I wanted to ask you too that I'm hearing. Do you get directed by the state then for closures and things of that nature if that comes down the pike, or how does that conversation start on a municipal level? What are you?
Right. Well, what we're doing right now is I have some notes that I'm going off of a little bit, but I met with the city administrator this morning. We were discussing this issue, and there is a. One of the interesting aspects is we're having a webinar on Monday with the Elections Commission about the April 7th election and what's going to happen there. I mean, that's a large gathering of people that come in, and are they all of a sudden going to say, well, you can only by the way, you can vote absentee at City Hall if you'd prefer to avoid the crowds. But, that's not, and then can you imagine if they sort of suspend an election or, limit the voting possibilities? I can see the lawsuits rolling,
absolutely.
Right now. So, and we're looking at things such as, the senior center, or you have to talk to Linda about the library and everything. But right now we're just recommending any preventative measures, the common sense kind of stuff that the CDC, washing your hands, using some wipes if you can find them. It's easier said than done. But, just keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
One part that I did not understand.
Hey, what's that?
Common sense. What the hell is that? If we had any, we wouldn't have our next guest here.
Where I said, we're leaving it to the Mr. Java.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we will step away and go to a commercial, and when we come back,
the town crier,
the man who is now dubbed by the mayor himself as Mr. Java. We will be back right after this. Thanks for coming on, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate it. Absolutely.
You bet. Appreciate it.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World.
Back with the Jack Henke Show. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's commiserating amongst themselves. But the announcer says, back to the mics.
I wouldn't call it commiserating.
Oh, we're not commiserating?
No.
All right.
We're fraternizing.
Oh, no, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
Back to Jack.
Yes, and we are back to Keith. Keith Kerznar, who is quite a character. I dedicated a Cedar blurb to him just over a year ago. And
Back when you wrote for the paper.
Right.
Wow, he went there right away. I love that.
Absolutely.
Keith, you are always welcome on the show.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was a coincidence that I wrote that thing about you and then I'm out.
Yeah, go figure.
I only told the truth.
So how's the radio show going to go?
Well, what do you think?
It's been fun, Jack. Appreciate all your week.
I'll be out of town pretty soon. One gig at a time I get fired from.
Hope you got a fallback.
We're gonna do carrier pigeon next week.
Yeah.
That's all we had. That's all let us do. Smoke
Right.
signals.
Well, Keith, in the blurb I mentioned, I for years I never knew your last name, and you didn't need one. You were like Madonna.
Yeah, right when I met him, the first thing I thought of was Madonna.
All those one-name superstars, Blondie, in particular.
Alfalfa.
Prince. All those that need no introduction nor no last name.
It's better for Shirley that way.
Now, who is Shirley?
Shirley is my wife.
Oh, my God.
She deemed to show up for this.
Now, how long have you been married? To Shirley.
40, it's going on 44 years.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Feels like 15 minutes
Oh, here it comes.
underwater.
I knew it. See? The town crier.
When I see him at the Java House next week with that black eye, I'll know exactly why.
Not the first time she's heard that.
It's not only the wit, it's the timing. You notice how he put the long pause. He just waited, milked it for all it was worth. He is a beauty. There's no question about that.
Never seen someone go from so high to so low so quick. You should run for mayor.
I got enough trouble.
Why did you see him so high, for God's sake? He went from so low to so lower.
Saying everything right, and
It's all
then, man.
relative.
So, where were you born, Keith?
I was born in Milwaukee.
Okay.
I've lived all my life in the Milwaukee area.
Until you moved out to the Berg.
Well, that counts as Milwaukee area, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, wow. In that case, I lived in Wauwatosa for a while.
Okay.
And then out to the Berg.
Leaving a trail of destruction in your path.
Pretty much everywhere, yeah.
So, why did you move to Cedarburg?
Well, my wife worked at St. Mary's, Milwaukee.
Why did your wife marry you?
She was drunk.
For 44 years?
It's the secret of a good marriage. That and I spend time at the Java House when I'm not around.
All right, so
She worked at St. Mary's, Milwaukee, and when they built the hospital in Mequon, she transferred out there. And after,
hoping you would stay back.
Well, after 2 or 3 months, she said it's too far for her to drive, so we should move out here, leaving me a 25-mile drive to work every day.
Well, of course.
But that was fine.
But that was okay.
That's how we ended up in Cedarburg.
Okay, and how long have you lived in Cedarburg?
25 years now.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's still here. Go
Yes.
figure.
Yes, it is. What about the Java House? Why did you start going to the Java House?
Well, I had neighbors who went there, and when I was working, I'd go there on weekends. And then after the place I worked paid me to leave, I started showing up every day because my wife said, I don't want you around the house all the time.
That's what I was getting to. And the Java House hasn't paid you to leave from there yet.
Not yet. They may pay me to go to Starbucks, but
Which you call,
Just to-
what do you call Starbucks?
Starbucks is the evil empire.
The evil empire. Wow. Darth Vader in the drive-thru.
What are some of your favorite things about Cedarburg?
I like the people. I mean,
Really?
Yeah. They're toys. I can play with them. Like a cat likes a mouse. So many toys.
We'll be needing Keith on the show at least once a month, Jack.
Yes, yes.
I noticed he didn't mention city government at all.
We have one? When did that start?
That's one of the toys. That's one of the broken toys.
And Cedarburg government doesn't mention me, so it's
It's a mutual.
Are there any potholes in front of your house that the mayor should
no,
know about?
actually, Alice Street isn't too bad. We're smooth. At least my end of it.
Again, the toilet paper reference. We don't need that. God, get off the toilet paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest guest for a radio show ever. The gift that keeps on giving.
During the week, I don't sit with Keith because
You have standards.
Too many people walk through there. But on the weekends, there's a different crowd. They're usually tourists who don't come back, and I don't care if they see me with Keith. But we have an ongoing conversation, and Keith is like a Cedarburg's Renaissance man, I would say.
Sure, that works.
He cooks. He's a bluegrass fan.
Yeah.
And he is our own local Michelin restaurant critic.
Well, I try to be. I don't get out as much as I'd like, because Shirley prefers for me to stay home and cook for her than going out. So. But yeah, I try to.
Again, the restaurant problem that the mayor mentioned before.
Yeah,
So Keith,
I agree with that.
So Keith, what is your top dish? What is the dish that gets your most?
And
the
don't
most
say
raves?
Shirley.
And hey.
I try something different every time I go somewhere. Even if it's a restaurant I've been to 10 times, I'll look and say, well, what haven't I had here?
All right.
What looks interesting?
How about recently? Is there one that stands up?
We've been to Brandywine a few times recently. I like that.
Excellent.
I think my standby favorite would be, brain fart.
Oh boy.
Where's that located?
Where's that?
Farmstead.
The farmstead.
Yeah,
Really?
when you can get in. It's hard to get in, but
You know, I had a chain of okay brain farts, and I just couldn't get them.
Do we get a liquor license for brain fart?
Couldn't pull that one off.
Yeah.
there's a name for your stout.
Up to this point, I've been able to give it away, but
It's quickly turning into my favorite episode.
You name it brain fart, and you'll be selling it.
oh yeah, I'll be keeping it all for myself.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Right. Keith, what about Chinese food? Do you like?
I like New Fortune.
And
it's,
what-
it's a nice setup for us. I will call and order takeout, and they'll tell me 25 minutes. I will leave the house immediately, and I get there, and it's ready. It takes less than 10 minutes, and I'm home.
Not bad. And what do you get from New Fortune?
Same thing, something different every time. What haven't I had?
Their crab rangoon is nearly a religious experience. I'd like to mention at this time, just so you know. They're really good.
What
You do
about?
the praying before or after you?
Yeah.
Wash it down with a brain fart.
A big, tall, cold brain fart.
With no toilet paper.
What about what the pho? You like Lay's pho?
Somebody slapjack.
Slapjacks. That's at PJ Piper's.
Crazy Eights.
What about the pho? You really like something you mentioned there many times to me. You've described it in great detail.
Oh, the banh mi sandwich?
Yes.
Oh, I love them.
I know. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, what about it?
I handed
that you
Jack a
like?
note to ask about the pho.
What the
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just,
fun
goofier
with
than
you?
usual.
Fun with you. So what is it about the banh mi or the banh you?
It's
What is it?
kind of like a poor boy sandwich with pork and crispy pickled vegetables. It's very good. Best vegetables are crispy. They're a little vinegary. It's a nice combination. Nice, fresh baguette.
Sounds good.
Sounds really good.
They are good.
Heading into lunchtime here, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. What about the festivals? What's your favorite festival in Cedarburg?
Though any of the ones I don't go to. Been there, done that, and there's too many people.
Were you still looking for a tourism director?
We found your man.
We just scratched one off the list.
We went to festivals years ago, and the last time we went, it was so crowded you could barely shuffle down the middle of the road.
Keith,
And we both said, yeah.
that's not
This is a
true.
good thing. This is
you
a good
sit out in
thing.
front of the job house and make fun of those poor people putting their tents
Well, that's
up.
before the festival.
You made a sport of it.
Wow.
Look at this one.
That
They'll
was
never
some
get that thing up there.
That was some ugly stuff.
I ain't helping.
You should have purchased one of those for Margot.
Well,
I
what
even
did
asked her what her favorite colors were. And
What was that again?
what did Yogi Berra say? It's too crowded. Nobody goes there.
That's right. That's right. You've never been to the German Fest in October? It's fantastic. It's not too
we
crowded.
tried. We went there first or second year. We showed up. It opened at noon. We went and we had something to eat, and then the band was supposed to start at 12:30. 1:30 we left because nothing had happened yet.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well, okay.
Those tubas are not easy to and squeeze by. Come on. I mean,
They were at the bar. The two guys were at the bar,
Hey.
warmed up. Oh boy. Okay, let's change that difficult subject. Let's
At a
talk.
festival, people are going to love me.
Who doesn't?
That is true.
Why should they be any different?
It's true.
What your pets? You have pets,
Lollipop and Mr. Trump.
and how do they?
You adopted our president?
Describe Mr. Trump
Well,
and why you call them that.
We got some new kittens last fall, and we picked him up. He's big, he's orange, and he's obnoxious. So we named him Mr. Trump. And we got the little girl named Lollipop.
I wanted you to
and-
rename her what?
Can you say it on the air?
Yes. Stormy.
Stormy, yeah.
But Shirley refused.
Pelosi was suggested, too.
Oh, man.
Oh,
We named her Lollipop,
they were both fixed. It's okay.
and she was supposed to be cute, and she turned out to be the evil one. Mr. Trump was the nice guy.
See.
Go figure.
Go figure. If there's any crashes, any breakage, any damage, it's the cute little girl.
Why should your house be any different?
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting. You have 2 pet cats,
Yes,
and you have no dogs.
no dogs. Never had a dog.
But you and a famous Meyer correspondent in the audience here are in a competition for feeding the dogs of Cedarburg.
My treats are bigger. She gives them little tiny treats. I give them large milk bones.
Right on.
Keith's milk bones are bigger.
Huge.
So did I mention the Highway 60 business park?
The mayor's still here.
Yes.
What's wrong with him?
He didn't recover from the brain fart.
He's thinking about getting labels printed up with that.
Oh, when I heard the first part of that word, I thought, labels.
You know, I frequently go
Well,
through
the library's just been shut down. Gee, what a shame.
The germs are inside. There's a virus spreading.
And none of you are quarantined. You can go home.
You know, I comb all the shows later on for sound bites to use for promos. This show has like 19 of them.
Only 19? Weren't you listening?
Our Murrow Award is on its way.
Oh, yeah. George Merle.
Used to be one of your neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a day.
Yes.
I tell you.
So the dogs.
Do you have any regrets
dogs.
about your political career? Well,
Up till now.
So what is it? Why did you start feeding the dogs when you won't even have one in your house?
Well, in the summer we sit out in the morning and have our coffee and laugh at people going by to work. And people would be walking their dogs.
Hey,
and
they're
they'd
laughing
go
at
in. Every chance we get.
He provides. That's too easy of a target, really.
Yeah.
You can do better than that.
The people walking their dogs would want to go in and get a coffee, and at some point we were volunteering to hang on to the leash rather
And
than
they trusted
tying
you.
it to it. When people want coffee, they're desperate.
Evidently,
So I just kind of started bringing milk bones to
big
keep
ones.
the dogs happy. Big ones, bigger than Jude's little Crispies or whatever they call it.
Jude just made a face for radio.
Yeah. So it just kind of evolved from there. Now there are dogs who will drag their owner down the street when they see us sitting out front. And I mean drag. You're talking to,
And the owners see you, and they're trying to drag the dog the other way.
or they simply let go and give up. They know exactly where the dog's
Kind of
going.
like a physics, every action. Wow.
And Keith trains people on how to give the dogs treats. Yeah. Here comes
full
Bubba.
service episode.
Don't hang on it with your fingers.
Yeah, you throw the treat at Bubba. 'Cause
Brainwashing Cedarburg's canines for many years.
Bubba's the one whose owner just lets him go a half a block away because he gives up trying to hold him back.
Dog needs oxygen. Good stuff.
All right. Now, what do you have? Do you have any political speeches you'd like to make, Keith?
I don't think so. I've avoided politics for obvious reasons. As I look over the audience, I've insulted everybody here at one point or another.
There's
One
person in the
point.
back you haven't gotten to
Multiple points. 1,000 points of light.
And right now I'm working on the people at the table. So. Who would vote for me?
See now, if Keith would go throughout the world, everybody would build up an immunity so strong they could fight any virus. Right. Keith will take care of it. Anybody in the audience have anything for Keith?
Here comes the first tomato.
Throw toilet paper.
That's right. We got to make a profit here. All right, another underwriter for the Jack Henke Show.
Underwiper.
Oh, by the way, I brought a large unused hand sanitizer. We're starting at 50. Do I hear 50? So 6. I got a lady in the back. 50. 6.
Being a nonprofit that we are, it's a good time for me to go to
Get a liquor license with that?
Speak for yourself, Jeff.
Package deal?
It probably is mostly alcohol.
Yeah, right.
That's not your brain fart.
Everyone take a pull off the hand sanitizer as they're way on the door.
It may come to this.
We are going to go to a break and talk
Velva.
about our friends at the library. We come back. We'll probably kick it over to Ian for the
Ian Turn Report.
Yes, the Cedarburg Sports Report. I kind of have an idea of what he's probably going to talk about, but we'll hope for the best. We'll be back right after this, everybody. Thank you, Keith, for coming on the show.
It was a thrill.
All right. Hey, folks, we're back. So nice to be back. Sorry about the hiccup there. Occasionally, the laptop
Sneeze, hiccup.
Yeah, it was. There was a sneeze and something happened. The mayor just. The mayor's also an IT guy. He just diagnosed the problem. So we've got our intern Ian is here, and we're really glad to have you on. Thank you very much. Bringing on the Bulldog Sports Report, and what you got for us?
I mean, a lot of transition. It's so beautiful out. It's getting nice out.
Who is this
Hopefully
kid
it's
talking
gonna-
like that? Like,
it's supposed to get warmer out, hopefully. So a lot of transition. Lacrosse is starting, a lot of outdoor stuff. So
Absolutely.
Track and field, moving away, even though basketball is, it is done because state tournament got canceled.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's fun there.
Oh boy.
well,
Where did the Bulldogs kind of end up on that as we were heading
lost to
towards-
Nicolay.
They lost to Nicolay. Okay.
Yeah, they beat
we
Plymouth.
talked about that. Yeah.
They beat Plymouth. It was in Plymouth. I found out after.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
did you find out where the game was?
Secret
Plymouth.
location.
Yeah, it was
Just
Plymouth.
an undisclosed location.
kind of is. It's up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that still is, right? Actually. Yeah. Plymouth, what's that?
So they went on, lost to Nicolay. Disappointing, but
But
So
Nicolay
is-
didn't win the state tournament.
no one won the state
Yeah,
tournament. So
see?
yeah.
Worked out well, actually.
Everyone won the
We
state
are
tournament.
all we are all victors. Yes.
Yes, Cedarburg did not lose again the rest of the year.
And as we were going, they just announced the college NCAA, no recruiting.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh man.
They don't want anybody going anywhere.
Jeez.
So everything's being pushed back. It might be pushed back another year.
Wow.
Because College World Series was canceled.
Yeah.
All March Madness is done. Which will push back even more to the draft, and it's horrible. I mean,
Stuff's real. Yeah. Absolutely. Good time to play video games. Because it's the only sport you're going to get,
Yeah.
Bust out that Madden 2020.
Pass the Twinkie.
Absolutely.
I saw something the other day where this is a nerd paradise, where
You sound
you can
pretty
stay
excited
in your
about that.
homes.
Didn't he?
No social interaction. Sports have been canceled.
Right.
It's just they've been training for this for years.
I'm so ready for social distancing.
So is everyone else from you. Pipe down. Let Ian finish his report. Do you have any good news for us, Ian? It's beautiful outside.
it is beautiful outside.
There we go.
I think it is. Should be back in order in about 30 days.
Any gasoline station updates?
That's right. Our man on the field at Casey's.
I was asking about the, I was making that for the liquor license thing because I had to, work at Casey's, so we were trying, and it is part of the town, but we were trying to get a liquor license.
There we go.
But, I had no idea what, the deal was with that, and,
Yeah. As always, tune into the Jack Henke Show for the
Get all
latest updates. Yes, we may need to be on daily, Jack. We got to keep this once a week's not cutting it. All right. Well,
But you're still having classes at high school.
yeah.
Okay. Any announcements on that?
It's long spring break, hopefully.
Okay.
good time to disinfect.
Yeah.
Wipe that joint down.
Great.
All right. Well, a wonderful thing happened while we were, kicking it over to the Bulldog Report. Our musical guest has arrived. I'm going to need to do a commercial break to set up for this.
How many
but,
commercials do we have in this
I have so many.
station?
Oh well, let me tell you. It just pays the bills and keeps the lights on. So we're going to do that. When we come back, a visit from our musical guest. This is fantastic. On the Jack Henke Show. We're running late today for a good reason. Till then.
From the
We'll be back.
Bluebird Cafe.
Sorry about the extra commercials today, everybody, but you're getting some extra show. So if you get extra show, you're going to get extra commercials.
Bonus time, baby.
Big time. Go for it, Jack.
Today we have with us Alexandra Berryman. Take it away.
Take my hand and let it go. Take my fear and make it show. Take my heart and break it slow. Let me go, but you can't hurt me anymore. I'm gonna swim and walk and talk. Each tear just hurts a little more. And now you know I spend my days counting the hours and the seconds since you left. Though there's no way I'd wanna see you again. But then again, I see your face in my dreams, haunting me at rest. What am I supposed to do then? Then I'll fall down and down and down. Yeah, I'll fall down and down and down. Yeah, I'll fall down and down and down. Far away from you, isn't that how you want me to? Far away from you. Or do you care for me at all? Now that my heart beats at a crawl and my smile has grown so small, would you let me go? I spend my days counting the hours and the seconds since you left. Oh, there's no way I'd wanna see you again. But then again, I see your face in my dreams, haunting me at rest. What am I supposed to do then? Then I'll fall down and down and down. Yeah, I'll fall down and down and down. Yeah, I'll fall down and down and down. Far away from you, isn't that how you want me to? How you want me to? Isn't that how you want me to? Oh, how you want me to? Far away from you. Far away from you. Down and down and down. Yeah, I'll fall down and down and down. I'll fall down and down and down. Far away from you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow. Excellent. That's great.
Alexandra has a big voice
Yes.
and a little itty bitty guitar that she's playing. Welcome to the show, Alexandra.
I think they call that a ukulele, Jack.
Oh, really?
I thought I would step in with a little musical
you.
education for you there.
So we saw you, Alexandra. You were performing at the best of the best of the best of the Bluebird Cafe.
Yes, yeah.
And you did quite well that night. In fact, I think
Did,
you got
yeah.
ripped off, but that's my own opinion.
We voiced our opinion afterward. We were very loud and pushy about
Yes.
it, I promise you.
Yes, he's good at that.
I am.
It brings me out of my shell. How long have you played do you play other instruments besides the ukulele, or how did you come to choose the ukulele?
Well, the ukulele is honestly kind of like a placeholder. I want to learn how to play guitar. I'm learning how to play piano. I used to play violin, but
Used
that's
to.
so boring. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Enough of that stuff.
Take that, Stradivarius.
That's right. The stock just plunged too.
No, exactly. So I'm playing ukulele until I can get my hands on a guitar. Although the ukulele, it's kind of working well because I haven't really done too much songwriting, and it's like a nice gateway instrument if you want to do songwriting because it's really easy to just kind of throw together a couple chords and then kind of, I don't know, yeah.
And how old are you?
I'm 14.
You're 14, and you used to play violin. So
Yes.
back when you were younger.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, your voice is it's a classical sounding voice, I would say. You know who Maggie Rogers is?
I don't know.
She's got a few. She's like an alternative, but she's kind of crossing over into the mainstream right now. But one of the things about her is they've said that she's got it's a crisp, clean, but still her own unique style. And I that's how I would describe Alexandra.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not like anybody else, which is great.
Thank you.
So do you have another song in that?
I do. This one's called What Ifs. It was one of the first songs I wrote, actually, so it's not really good. But
oh, thanks for sharing it.
We'll be the judge of that.
It's going to fit right in on this show.
Who is that guy over there?
Yeah. So here we go.
Great.
What if things were different? What if I were healed? What if I were happy? What if that were real? I'd be so free without this ball and chain following me. I'd see that light on the horizon. What if I could smile without feeling so fake? Come on, let's talk a while. All my time you can take. It'd be so bright, and the sun shine through the night, and every day I'd see that light on the horizon. We can talk what ifs all day, but our pain won't go away. What's the point of being a dreamer if dreams, they don't stay? There's a theme with every broken heart. Each one of them will start with a dream for the future. Yeah, that's the toxic heart. And so the next time you see that light on the horizon, think of me. What if I were stronger, and the happiness I seek could last a little longer? Oh, how can I be so weak? It'd be so grand. And everyone I know would be hand in hand. I'd see that light on the horizon. We can talk what ifs all day, but our pain won't go away. What's the point of being a dreamer if dreams, they don't stay? There's a theme with every broken heart. Each one of them will start with a dream for the future. Yeah, that's the toxic heart. And so the next time you see that light on the horizon, think of me.
That's a bad one? That's fantastic.
Thank you.
No, you're not hip. It's like, it's bad.
Oh, I see. I need my interpreter too.
That's right. Come on, get with it.
She can borrow one of my 19 guitars, Jack, if she wants.
Absolutely. Give her all 19.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alexandra. That was wonderful.
Okay, cool. That's it.
That was great. Wow.
Overtime and well worth it.
100%. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you to our new underwriter, Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge. John Arcuri is kind of our contact over there. Appreciate you supporting community radio in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And thank you, of course, to Linda Pershall.
Who?
Our library director.
Brown nose.
Well, I like to stay employed.
Java House.
Java House, of course, for supplying a few drops of coffee to get us through this wild show. And
Shirley, we got to thank Shirley Kerznar for letting us borrow Keith.
I think she was thrilled. she sent me an email. Can you keep him? So, and thanks to our mayor, Mayor Mike O'Keefe. Thank you so much. Thanks for all you do for our city, and thanks for coming on the show today. And there we are. That's a show in the books.
Tomorrow night, Mark Nielsen, rocking and rolling.
Let the good times roll, 7 p.m.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. We'll get Howard back on next week, hopefully with some baseball news, being they're going to maybe start up again. That would be a nice thing. So, trying to be optimistic here. And we'll be back on. Look for the show on our...
I think next week we're doing a liquor license lottery, right?
Oh, great.
Everyone check under your seats for a ticket. All right,
Colt
folks.
45. Malt liquor.
It's the Jack Henke Show on CPL Radio. Come by next week, and we'll do this again.
I'm
Take
coming,
care, everybody.
Margo. I'm on my way.
That's it. Oh, actually, we're not on next week, are we? I think we are taking
What?
a bye week. That's right. We have
Oh,
a
we
bye
are.
week. We are on. That's right. Programming
It's the
notes.
27th.
That's the one. Don't tune in then. Tune in. Oh, we'll tune in. I'll put a rerun on. Come on by, everybody. Adios.